I don't really talk about this story. Not because I want to keep it secret, but mostly because people don't believe me. When I do tell someone, their eyes glaze over or they change the subject quickly. Maybe they think I'm crazy or just trying to make something weird out of nothing. But I swear what I experienced was real. It all happened about a year and a half ago, late summer. My wife Sarah and I had spent a relaxing weekend at her parents' place up in Vermont. We decided to take the scenic route back, through upstate New York, along I-87. It's quieter, prettier, but less crowded, which meant fewer places to stop. We left late that evening around 7 p.m., planning to get home by midnight or so. The drive was uneventful at first. Some good music, occasional conversations, the kind of road trip silence couples get into when they're tired but content. At about 11:30 p.m., Sarah mentioned she needed a bathroom break. She always has a sensitive stomach, especially after eating her mom's spicy chili. We hadn't seen many rest stops along the way, so I kept my eyes peeled. Soon we spotted the sign, "Rest Area, Next Exit." I took the exit and pulled into the parking lot. It was one of those typical highway rest stops. Gas station, vending machines, a small building with restrooms. The place was quiet, dimly lit by old sodium lamps that gave off a weak yellow glow, flickering a little. There were maybe 3 cars parked sparsely. I noticed a couple of trucks near the gas pumps, but mostly it felt empty. Late at night, I guess. We parked a bit away from the other vehicles. I figured the farther we were from other people, the better, just in case. Sarah got out, said she'd be quick. I asked if she wanted anything from the vending machines, but she waved me off, smiling, and headed to the restroom building. I stayed in the car, scrolling through my phone, trying not to get bored. 5 minutes passed. No Sarah. 10 minutes. Still no Sarah. I thought maybe she was waiting in line or checking her phone. After 15 minutes, I started feeling uneasy. I looked out, no sign of her near the vending machines or anywhere in the lot. I texted her, no reply. Called her phone. Went straight to voicemail. My heart sank a bit. I grabbed my keys and stepped out. The night air was cool, a light breeze blowing. The rest area smelled faintly of gasoline and wet asphalt. I walked toward the restroom building. The door to the women's restroom was closed. I knocked lightly. Sarah? No answer. I knocked again, louder. Still nothing. I waited a moment, then pushed the door open. The restroom was completely empty. No sounds of running water, no footsteps. Not a single stall door was closed. Everything was spotless, eerily quiet. I called her name softly. Nothing. Panic started to grow. I walked around the building, checking the other side. Looked behind it, near the dumpsters and the little tree line bordering the lot. No Sarah. No sign of anyone. I called her phone again, voicemail. I returned to the car and searched inside carefully, thinking maybe she had gone back for something. The doors were locked, keys still in my pocket. I called 911. The dispatcher was calm but said officers would be there soon. About 30 minutes later, 2 patrol officers showed up. They took down my statement and started searching the area with flashlights. We looked everywhere. The vending machines, the grassy edges of the parking lot, the wooded area behind the rest stop. No Sarah. A detective arrived a little later, along with a couple of dogs trained to track scents. They brought out footage from a single security camera overlooking the parking lot entrance. We sat on the curb and watched it together. The grainy black and white video showed our car pulling into the lot. The passenger door opened. Sarah stepped out and headed toward the restroom building. I went back inside the car. Then, after a few minutes, the video showed me getting out, walking toward the restroom, knocking on the door, pacing around nervously. But Sarah? She never came back out. There was no footage of her leaving the building. No shadow. No figure. Just gone. The detective rewound the video, played it again, frame by frame. Nothing. I was told they would keep investigating, but no other cameras covered the rest stop. In the days that followed, the search expanded. Helicopters flew overhead, K9 teams combed the nearby woods, and volunteers helped with ground searches. But it was like Sarah vanished. No trace. No evidence. No clues. I stayed in town for 2 months, cooperating with the police, answering questions, revisiting the rest area every few days. I couldn't understand it. Then one evening, I spoke to a local highway patrol officer off the record. He told me something that made my blood run cold. This rest area? It had a history. At least 5 other people had disappeared there over the last 15 years. All adults. All late at night. all without a trace. He mentioned that witnesses from previous disappearances often described a strange man they saw around the rest stop. A janitor, supposedly. A man wearing a dark blue jumpsuit with no name tag. Always near the bathrooms. Mopping floors, sweeping, nodding politely to travelers. But no one ever officially worked there at night. No janitors scheduled past 6 p.m. And none of these men were ever identified. I asked if this man appeared in any of the security footage from my wife's disappearance. The officer hesitated, then said no. But later, when tech specialists analyzed the video frame by frame, they noticed something strange. In one frame, barely visible in the shadows near the women's restroom door, stood a figure. A man. Just standing there. Then, in the very next frame, gone. I've never been back to that rest area. I avoid that stretch of highway altogether now. Sometimes, late at night when I'm driving alone, I find myself looking for that exit, just to see if the place still exists the way I remember it. Sometimes, I swear I see a shadow standing just beyond the lights. And sometimes I feel like I'm being watched. Like the janitor is still there waiting for the next traveler who will walk through that door and never come out. It was supposed to be the kind of summer memory we'd talk about for the rest of our lives. Just two best friends, a tent, a few supplies, and total isolation. No phones, no distractions, just nature, silence, and the stars. Derek and I had planned the trip for weeks. We'd both finished our first year of college and figured we deserved a break before diving into summer jobs and responsibilities. He found a remote camping spot way up in the Adirondacks. No marked trails, no nearby campsites, just a patch of flat land near a lake, surrounded by miles of untouched forest. We left on a Thursday morning in June. By late afternoon, after hours of hiking and some off-trail scrambling, we found the place. It was everything he'd promised. Serene. Beautiful. Completely cut off. We set up the tent by the edge of the lake, made a small fire pit and got the water filters going. That first night we cooked hot dogs on sticks, drank warm beer and laid back to watch the stars. It was quiet, so quiet you could hear the wind in the trees like a whisper. I remember saying, "This is perfect." And it was. For a little while. The next morning we woke up early and spent most of the day swimming, fishing, and talking about nothing. No phones meant no time. It felt like we'd slipped into some forgotten place where the rest of the world couldn't touch us. Around dusk we got the fire going again. We were roasting marshmallows when Derek froze, staring out toward the trees on the far side of the lake. "You see that?" he asked. I followed his gaze but I didn't see anything. Just trees and shadows. "What?" I asked. "I thought I saw movement," he said. "Like, someone standing there." I squinted but it was already too dark. I laughed it off. "Dude, you're freaking yourself out." He didn't laugh. "Yeah, maybe." That night I couldn't sleep. The tent was stuffy and every little crack of a branch or rustle of leaves outside had me wide awake. Derek was out cold, snoring softly. At one point I heard footsteps. Not animals. Not wind. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate crunching, like someone walking just beyond the edge of the clearing. I held my breath. They stopped. I waited, heart pounding. Eventually, I convinced myself it was my imagination. But I didn't sleep much after that. The next morning I didn't mention it. I figured if I brought it up, it would just make it more real. We packed some snacks and decided to hike a bit deeper into the woods, maybe find a lookout point. About a mile in we found something odd. A circle of stones, perfectly round. In the middle, a pile of animal bones. Not fresh but not old either. Clean. Arranged deliberately. Derek stared at it for a while, then muttered, "What the hell?" I didn't have an answer. We left it alone and kept walking. But that weird feeling, that weight in the air, it followed us. That night something changed. We were sitting by the fire when we heard it. A sound from the tree-line maybe 30 feet away. A snapping branch. We both turned. Derek grabbed the flashlight and aimed it toward the trees. Nothing. But the feeling was back, thick and heavy like the forest itself was holding its breath. Then came the smell. Sure. Metallic. Like rust and wet earth. "Let's just go in the tent," I said. We zipped ourselves in, trying to act normal like nothing was wrong. But just after midnight we heard it again. Footsteps. Closer this time. I reached for the small hatchet we kept in the tent, hands shaking. The footsteps circled us. Slow, measured, like someone was walking around the perimeter. Derek whispered, "What the fuck is that?" I didn't answer. Then came the whisper. Not loud. Not clear. Just a murmur. Almost like a voice but not quite. Like words being spoken underwater. We froze. Neither of us moved or breathed. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then, nothing. Whoever or whatever it was had left. We stayed awake the rest of the night, clutching the hatchet and a camping knife, praying for sunrise. In the morning, everything looked normal again. The lake was calm. The fire pit cold. Birds were chirping. It was like nothing had happened. Except for the footprints. Clear, human-like prints in the dirt around our tent. Barefoot. Long toes. Deep heel marks. Too big to be either of ours. We packed up within the hour. We weren't idiots. Whatever was out there, we didn't want to meet it. We hiked fast, not even stopping for breaks. But no matter how far we went, the woods felt off. Too quiet. Like the animals were gone. By late afternoon, we were maybe 2 miles from the trailhead when Derek stopped cold. His voice was low. "Look." I followed his gaze. Up in the trees, maybe 15 feet off the ground, was a crude bundle of sticks tied with red cloth. Dangling from it was something that looked like a doll, made of bones wrapped in hair. I felt sick. "Keep moving," I said. But from then on we kept hearing things behind us. Cracks. Whispers. Soft breaths. Like we were being herded. Wash. We made it out just before dark, but we didn't speak much on the drive home. Even after we got back to town, things didn't feel right. Derek had trouble sleeping. He said he kept hearing the footsteps outside his window at night. Once, he swore he saw something standing across the street, watching. I didn't believe him at first. Until it started happening to me. One night, maybe 2 weeks after we got home, I woke up at 3 a.m. to a tapping sound. At my bedroom window. Second story. I turned on the lamp and walked over, heart racing. Nothing. But there were fingerprints on the glass. Long, thin. Smudged like they'd been dragged downward. After that, I didn't sleep for days. Then Derek stopped responding to texts. Wouldn't answer calls. I drove to his house, but his mom said he'd gone out 2 days ago and hadn't come back. He never did. The police opened a missing persons case, but they didn't find anything. No phone pings. No cards used. No signs of a struggle. Just gone. I don't go camping anymore. I don't go near woods if I can help it. Because sometimes late at night I swear I still hear that whisper. That wet, distorted murmur just outside my window. And just once I looked out and saw it. A figure. Standing at the edge of the tree line across from my apartment building. Tall. Still. Watching. Waiting. I wasn't even supposed to go to the fair that night. I had work the next morning, my mom needed help with the garage, and to be honest, I wasn't feeling all that great. But it was the last weekend before school started again, and Tyler wouldn't stop texting the group chat about how we had to go one last time before summer officially died. So yeah, I gave in. Dumb decision number 1. We rolled up to the Clinton County Fairgrounds around 7:30 p.m. It was packed like it always is on the last night. Families, teenagers, the smell of funnel cakes and hot dogs mixing with the diesel from the generators. The lights, the screaming from the rides, the terrible pop music. It all kinda made you forget you were in the middle of nowhere upstate New York. It was me, Tyler, Kayla, and Brandon. We did the usual stuff. Rode the Ferris wheel, ate way too much fried food, tried and failed to win a giant stuffed duck at the ring toss. Brandon flirted with the girl running the lemonade stand. Kayla made fun of him for it all night. It was normal. Fun even. Until we left. It was just after 11 when we got back to my car. I was the driver. We walked through the gravel lot, laughing about some guy who'd thrown up on the tilt-a-whirl. We piled in and started heading back toward Plattsburgh, about 20 minutes away. That's when Kayla noticed the car. It was a dark sedan, nothing special. But it had parked just a few spots away from us. Thing is, we didn't remember seeing it before. And when we pulled out, it pulled out too. At first, none of us thought anything of it. The road out of the fair only really goes one direction. Of course they'd be behind us. But then we turned left at the main road. They turned left too. We took a right. So did they. I sped up a little. They kept pace. It was Brandon who said, is it just me or is that car literally copying everything we do? I laughed it off. Nervously. It's just a coincidence. Turn somewhere random, Kayla said. Like a gas station. See if they follow. So I did. I pulled into a 24-hour Sunoco, looped around, didn't even stop, and headed back out. They did the exact same thing. Now we were scared. I made a quick right into a side street, then another. I was weaving through residential areas and the sedan stayed with us the whole way. No headlights flashing. No honking. Just steady, silent stalking. Should we call the cops? Tyler asked. He had his phone out, already recording. We don't even know if they're doing anything illegal, I said. Maybe they just live over here. Brandon glanced back. Then why are their headlights off now? I looked in the rear view. He was right. Their lights were off. I floored it. We didn't stop until we got to my place. Now here's where things get even weirder. When I pulled into the driveway, the car didn't follow. In fact, it wasn't behind us at all anymore. It was like it vanished. We all sat there, breathless, looking around. Maybe they turned off somewhere, Kayla offered. Or maybe they were just messing with us, Brandon added. Some freak at the fair trying to scare kids. We laughed, sort of. The kind of laugh you do when you're trying to convince yourself it's all over. I invited them all in. None of us felt like going straight home. We grabbed sodas, turned on a movie, something dumb and funny, and tried to shake the creepy vibe. Eventually, around 1:30 a.m., Tyler and Kayla left together. Brandon crashed on the couch. I went upstairs, washed up, and got ready for bed. And here's where everything starts to fall apart. At 2:17 a.m., I woke up to the sound of footsteps downstairs. I figured it was Brandon, maybe getting water or using the bathroom. But then I heard the front door open. I froze. I hadn't heard it unlock. I grabbed my phone and texted Brandon, "Did you just go outside?" No response. I waited a second, then texted again, "You good?" Nothing. I sat there, staring at my door until I heard creaking on the stairs. I should have called the cops right then. I know that. But I didn't. I was frozen, listening as someone moved slowly up to the landing. Then came the sound of the bathroom door opening, closing, then silence. I got out of bed as quietly as I could and grabbed the baseball bat from my closet. I crept to my door, cracked it open, and peeked out. No one was there. I moved toward the bathroom. The door was open. Light off. Empty. Then I checked the couch. Brandon was gone. His blanket was there. His phone. But no sign of him. I ran outside barefoot, heart hammering. The driveway was empty. No car. No Brandon. No nothing. I called his phone. Straight to voicemail. I called Tyler. No answer. Then I called the police. When they got there, they searched the whole house. No signs of forced entry. All the windows were locked. The door? Still bolted from the inside. They checked the security cam my mom had installed above the garage. Here's what it showed. 1:34 a.m., me and Brandon come inside. 1:57 a.m., Brandon on the couch, scrolling his phone. 2:03 a.m., he sits up, looks toward the hallway, then stands. 2:04 a.m., he walks out of frame. Then nothing. No one else enters. No one else leaves. But Brandon never comes back. He's just gone. The police opened a missing person report. They searched the woods nearby, checked traffic cameras, interviewed everyone we knew. Nothing. And that's not even the end of it. 2 days later, Kayla showed up at my place crying. She said someone had been watching her house. A man. Standing across the street. Same dark sedan parked nearby. Then he disappeared too. No sign of struggle. Just gone. Then Tyler stopped answering texts. When the cops went to his house, the front door was unlocked, TV still on, phone on the coffee table. No Tyler. It's like we're being picked off one by one. I'm the only one left now. And I think they're coming for me next. Last night I saw the car again. Parked across from my house. Headlights off. Someone sitting inside. I don't know who they are. Or what they want. But I keep thinking back to the fair. To all the people there. All the noise. The chaos. It would have been so easy for someone to mark us. To follow us. To wait until we were alone. And now, even with the lights on and the doors locked and the cameras running, I don't feel safe. Because whoever they are, they never break in. They're already inside.